Good evening. I wish to call the Lee County Board of Commissioners to order on this 5th of June, 2023. Just a reminder, if you would be so kind as to quiet your cell phones, but if it does happen to go off, we will stop the meeting and let you carry on with your conversation. I used to do that with my students, so it was always appropriate to put them on the spot. That way, the next one wouldn't happen. Please rise for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Lord, tonight we thank you for the resources you've given Lee County. It's truly a blessing to us all. And you've also, Father, given us the authority to decide what to do with those resources in this room tonight. And I just pray for the wisdom that we need to make good decisions. We bless you, Father, and we thank you for your goodness to us. And pray in the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have the budget, or excuse me, you have the agenda in front of you. I think budget is on the agenda. You have the agenda in front of you. Is there any additional items for the agenda?
I'd like to offer several for consent agenda.
Yes, sir.
Hold on a second. I'd like to add 5A, 5B, 5C, and along with that, I would offer a motion for Commissioner Sharp to recuse himself. It deals with the cities.
The motion has been made to move old
I
business.
have one more,
Okay.
and 6D, the tax office,
Pioneer appraisal.
yes.
Madam Attorney.
So just briefly for, I think 5B, the appointment of the Consolidated Human Services Board, I do think that I need signatures on the ballot for those, so we might need to do that separately.
Fine.
Okay, it won't take long. And
All
then, I appreciate it, but for Commissioner Sharp, since we have to motion to recuse him, we can do it right after the consent, but that way he can still vote on the rest of the consent agenda.
Right.
Does that make sense? Okay.
That's good. Thank you.
So we'll recuse him right after the consent agenda?
Yes, and then you can go ahead and vote on the contract for planning
Right.
services before
Okay.
the public hearing.
Okay. So, if I can understand this, approval of personnel policies for Lee County. We are going to move to consent agenda along with the Pioneer appraisal. And then we will leave in old business, appoint Consolidated Human Services appointees.
Right.
And then at the end of the consent agenda, before public hearings, we need to recuse Commissioner Sharp.
Correct.
Move the planning contract up before the public hearings.
And then vote on contract planning services.
Before the public hearings.
Okay. Has everybody got that? Keep us in line. Any other additional items or adjustments to the agenda? Seeing there's any further discussion? Seeing there are none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, moving on to the next item. The next item is a motion to exclude Commissioner Sharp from voting on the contract for planning services. Any discussion? Seeing there are none, do I have a motion, that is?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Reeves to recuse Commissioner Sharp regarding the planning services contract. Any further discussion?
We need a
vote on the consent agenda, please.
Yeah,
Oh,
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda and the amendments that were made.
motion to approve the consent agenda with the additional items. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Going back to Commissioner Reeves' motion to recuse Cameron Sharp from the vote on the contract for planning services. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay. I think we got that.
You can go ahead and vote on the contract for planning services if you would like.
All right. Do I have a motion to vote on the contract for planning services?
so moved.
Motion been made by Commissioner Reeves to vote on to approve the contract for planning services. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Do we need now to include Cameron Sharp back onto the? or we
I think
just
it's
rec-
fine. The motion was for that one
Okay,
item.
okay,
so.
we got it. All righty. Next item on the agenda is going to be the public hearing for the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. I will open the public hearing. For those of you who are interested in speaking on behalf of the 2023-2024 budget, feel free to come forward. We just ask that you state your name and your address, and let us know if you're for or against the budget that is proposed. Anyone for the public hearing on the budget? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Alan Rummel, 1001 Northview Drive here in Sanford. So I am a member of the school board, but I am not here tonight to speak on behalf of the entire board. I'm just speaking on behalf of myself. So I guess I'd state up front that I am opposed to the proposed budget that you guys have before you tonight. And just wanted to say a few words about that. So I came last year at budget time as a taxpayer, asking that this board question and verify the business case for that proposed school budget increase. That's because as a conservative, I wanted to make sure that my tax dollars are being spent effectively, and there was no detail discussed or presented at the school board budget meeting, just the number for the increase, and the reasoning was so we could compete with Wake County. It's pretty weak, and I don't think that's fair to taxpayers here. So this year I came as the school board's finance chair, and I presented the type of business case that I would expect, which included figures, reasoning, and the goals for the increase that was requested by the new board. So I also gave you guys some specific actions that the board has accomplished already, and some things that we have in the works to improve school performance, and also answered some questions at the end of that presentation. So these items represent everything that I believe has been asked for by commissioners in order to consider a budget increase that's aimed at salaries for school system employees. So I do believe that presentation was a first between our two boards, and the aim was to show ownership and transparency and assure the commissioners that the new school board is driving towards improvement both in performance and fiscal stewardship. And I think that we accomplished all of those things. So I wanted to speak just briefly about the proposed budget that you guys have. So the property tax revenue is up 18%, and total revenue is up 15.5%. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that got budget increases. So we've got general government budget is up 24%, public safety is up 25%, including a 147% increase in juvenile detention, which it kind of seems to me like if we invested in education, hopefully the need for that would go away eventually. Obviously, it wouldn't be immediate. Economic and physical development is up 54%. Human services is up 16%. Cultural recreational is up 28%. And then public K-12 education is up 2.7. So bottom of the barrel. So I think all the taxpayers in Lee County, property owners, I suppose you could say, are already taking a tax increase this year. And to me, the logic that it would take an extra penny on top of the tax rate that you guys have proposed to include the school system in their requested budget increase, that doesn't really hold up as a reason to not approve the presented school budget because we're already taking a tax increase. So, I mean, I'm a pretty big conservative, but another penny's not, it's not gonna hurt. We're taking an increase already, just give us the whole thing. That's where I'm at as a conservative guy. So I also wanted to note that if I have this one right, I think county employee salaries are going up 7%, but then again, the school employees are kind of left out to dry, even though they're living in the same, environment in which every other county employee is living in. And then the last thing I wanted to leave you with is, I know there's obviously some blame, and I think I mentioned during the school board presentation that, the state has the biggest responsibility for teacher salaries, but I don't think you can blame the North Carolina General Assembly for local property tax values skyrocketing and rents increasing, because I think that is a direct result of decisions that were made by the Board of Commissioners to usher in growth into the county, right? So I do believe that this board should be coming to the table to help offset that for our school employees. Thank you, board.
Thank you, sir. Anyone for the budget as proposed? Anyone else wishes to speak in opposition on the proposed budget for 2022-23? Excuse me, 23-24 fiscal year? Yes, sir. Again, please state your name and your address.
Thank you. It's David Smoke, SMOAK, 96 Northridge Trail, Sanford. Good evening, Commissioners. I know there's a lot on the agenda tonight, so I will try to be brief and make mostly bullet comments on my concern about the proposed new budget. Some of my comments will reflect my beliefs in both our local and larger federal government spending decisions. I appreciate the work from Ms. Minter, her cover letter on the county website, and use it extensively as a resource. I would note that the revenue neutral rate of 57.2 cents would have included a reasonable 4% rate of spending growth. And if I take your new proposed tax rate and property valuation and apply it to my old valuation just last year, the county tax rate jumps to 90 cents versus the 73 cents I paid last year. I know the flat tax concept of paying for our fire departments have outraged many. I am not happy that using the same math as with property taxes, my tax for the Carolina Trace Fire Department jumps from 11.5 cents to almost 14 cents. I am happy that the proposed waste disposal fee remains flat after a jump last year at least. To be fair, if I was a city resident, I would be concerned that the cost of relocating the Wilson Center at an estimated cost of $800,000 will be paid from county reserves, which are partially paid by city residents, to my understanding. I am concerned to read our interest costs on debt exceed $2 million per year, but I am glad to see those costs seem to be on a downward trajectory. I do not know what interest rate we are paying, but I encourage the commissioners to continue to pay down that debt and avoid rolling it over at what will undoubtedly be higher future rates, barring another serious recession, of course. I am concerned that this budget so dramatically underestimates the growing sales tax revenue of our booming economy. I actually asked that you consider eliminating the 2% food tax collected by the county at one point. Instead, this budget discounts the collect taxes far greater than if we did eliminate that tax while keeping the tax in place anyways. I heard several claims of socialism at one of the last meetings regarding the fire department taxes. I understand the argument to regionalize the fire departments countywide. I spoke to the city council a few months ago about how they were annexing and improving thousands of houses, apartments, and townhouses less than a mile away from the Carolina Trace Fire Department, while they would collect the taxes for their own fire department, which was about 4 miles away. I have read that some of you commissioners share this concern when it comes to mutual aid agreements. As an uninformed outsider looking at the workload of our fire departments, I would base their budgets on a combination of vehicle taxes and some sort of flat fee per household or kitchen. Do more expensive homes really cost more to protect from fires or have higher demand for services? If you really want to address the socialism issue, then it seems to me making some sort of equal charge for everyone is actually the answer. $200 per home per year, something like that. The more homes you have, the more money and bigger departments. Of course, other rates would be needed for undeveloped industrial and commercial properties. There are many other rising costs hitting the owners in this county. Home insurance, pending electric rate hikes, possibly even student loan payments. This budget will really harm those living on the margins, despite whatever aid programs we add to our department. departments also. I understand how government agencies will always plead how they will do more and do it better with more money. I was in the Army during the 90s drawdowns when people were actually forced out, and the saying was do more with less. I'm not even saying that. I want the government at all levels to do less with less money. I feel that with the best of intentions, these creeping government expenditures are actually weakening us as a society and as a people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else speaking on behalf of the budget? Anyone else? Going once, going twice? Public hearing on the budget is now closed. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing on the capital improvement plan. I open the public hearing on the capital improvement plan for 2024, 2028. Anyone in favor signify by coming forward and giving us your name as well as your address. All those in favor of the capital improvement plan for 2024 through 2028. Anyone opposed? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. State your name and your address, please. Tell us how you feel.
Feel good.
Outstanding. Now tell us what you think about the CIP.
Name is Tommy O'Rourke. I live at 6213 Mockingbird Lane. I'm new to the area. I've been here 2 years, and this is my first full year with my kids going to Southern Lee. And apparently there's a budget thing going on here, and I don't know all the ins and outs, but I just want to let you know some observations throughout the first year of Southern Lee. So I'll make it quick. Throughout the year, every time I pick up my kids, hey, how was school today? How's things happening and stuff like that? And they tell me little nuances about what's going on throughout the year. Well, started in the fall is when we had a banquet, and it was like for my son plays football, and we went up there to the banquet and everything. There's no microphones. We have a podium that's kind of just thrown in there. We're in the cafeteria. There's nothing set up. Coach is speaking. He has to throw his voice across the room to hear all the parents and everything, because we're giving out awards and everything. And this is my world. I'm actually in the entertainment industry, so I work with microphones, I work with podiums, I work with auditoriums. I'm in the industry. So when I saw that, I told my daughter, I was like, "Is this commonplace?" She's like, "I don't know." She goes, "This is kind of weird." And I had to sit up front because I couldn't even hear anybody. And the coach has got a big voice, and I couldn't even hear anything. You start going throughout the school year, I start hearing from the kids that they're testing, and I'm like, okay. So what does that mean? Well, we're testing in the auxiliary room, but I can't do my weightlifting class today because I make too much noise for the kids testing in that room. I'm like, so what do they do with you? Well, they move you. Where do they move you to? To the cafeteria. To lift weights? No, I'm just on my phone for an hour. Doing what? Like, just on my phone. If we have homework, we can do homework, but other than that, we just sit in the room. We don't do anything. And those kind of scenarios, I said, why can't you go to the gym? Well, they're getting ready for prom. So there's all this structure that needs to be there, and I think that the principal and the faculty, they do everything that they can to manage it and make it work, but it's not a good thing. Now, I remember crossing an auditorium and getting a diploma when I was in high school. I think now they just do all their graduations outside. What if the weather's bad? Little things like that just pop up. My daughter's going to be joining a jazz band next year. I was like, what about recitals? She's like, well, the jazz band performs in the cafeteria. I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, you play guitar. Like, I need you on stage. Like, how does that work? And she's like, I don't know. We'll find out next year. So, look, I don't know if you guys are going to build an auditorium before my kids graduate, but I'm telling you, it's probably a thing that should be. I'm in a lot of churches. I'm in a lot of schools throughout the Southeast. I work with auditoriums all the time. We fly sound and we put stuff in there. I think it's a necessary thing you have to have in schools, and I was actually shocked during open house that there wasn't one available at the school. And I thought it was a relatively new school, 2005, 2006, something like that. And I thought for sure they would have built one, but it looks like they haven't. So that might be a good idea to do for the kids, especially for the moment of walking across and getting a diploma. Instead of sitting outside baking in the June sun, it might be nice to be doing it on the inside and all that kind of stuff. So that's coming from a parent. So there you go. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Thank you once again. Again, Alan Rummel, 1001 Northview Drive in Sanford. And also, again, obviously I am a school board member, but I am speaking on behalf of myself and not the board tonight. So I too wanted to talk a bit about the Southern Lee Auditorium project. And so to be honest with you, besides the fact that I think it's crazy that we have a high school that does not have an auditorium to support the arts and things that you just heard about, and I guess I'd give a brief side note too. So I was an orchestra guy in high school. I played cello. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever tried to listen to an orchestra in a cafeteria, but it probably sounds pretty terrible. So just want to throw that out there. But to me, so I'm also the chair of our facility and technology committee. So I've been dealing with some of the capacity planning issues at our school as well. And I wanted to highlight the fact that this project also includes 6 classrooms that are needed currently at Southern Lee for some capacity issues that they're having. And again, I would honestly say that some of those capacity issues were ushered in by this Board of Commissioners as we voted to grow our county, right? So this past year at Southern Lee, it's my understanding that the media center had to be curtained off into 3 classrooms to make up some extra space that's needed for classrooms that don't exist yet. And I would also highlight that our school board is going to have to vote to approve either a lease or a purchase of some modular classrooms at our coming June meeting to accommodate and make sure that we don't have to curtain off our media center again. The cost for that could be as high as just shy of $1 million, depending on what we choose to do. And I think if we're forward looking and we choose to get a few extra classrooms for growth that will surely happen over the next year as well, because we're not going to have that permanent space, right? So this auditorium and these classrooms is a large project. It's not going to be done in a year and a half, or maybe even 2 years. So that's something that we're going to have to look at as a school board, in part due to not having that auditorium and classrooms. So I would just say that to me that this project is already years late. So before I ever got involved in county politics and school board and all that, like, it should have been built already. And I don't see a logical reason to delay that any further. I do remember seeing an article, and I'm not quoting anything here, but it was basically when our old county manager went out, he made some kind of statement about Lee County has the money, or we have the debt capacity, and he was hopeful that the school system would bring forward a plan for growth. And I think we are bringing that plan, and so to me, it's just strange that it would be pushed back, which is what is in the proposed budget. It's pushing this project another year. So again, I would just leave with a comment that I think, again, the commissioners voted in this growth that we're seeing in the county, this population growth, so I think that the commissioners obviously are also responsible to come to the table and make sure that the school system has capacity to include all of these new students that are showing up at our doors. So thanks again for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Shirley Lynn Womack. I live at 1615 Boone Trail. I just want to give my experiences being at Lee County Schools and watching the things that go on in that schools, particularly at Southern Lee High School. Southern Lee High School is probably only one in the entire region of high schools that we have found without an auditorium. Did a statewide search, very few of them do not have auditoriums. Matter of fact, they said less than 4 is what our last attorney could come up with. But not having a high school auditorium is not something where people just think, well, that's just for the music and that's just for the arts. My challenge with this is that we have children that are affected for multiple reasons with COVID and the issues that come with that. The kids that I meet that are in these programs, these type of programs, music, arts, auditorium is also used when people come in and they give speeches or when they have celebrations and gatherings, things like that. I think it's been almost 17 years waiting on this auditorium. We have elementary schools with auditorium, but not a high school. But what's most concerning is the fact that we need at least 4 classrooms in Southern Lee High School. So when I talked to a parent the other day that called me on the phone, and that was one of them, by the way, this one that just showed up. They actually have kids, and so they are teaching children and having classes also in the media center, which is good. I believe in utilizing every resource you got. But I challenge each commissioner here to just come to one event where we have a musical going on, and you would be able to see what they go through. It's not just having to do it in the cafeteria. It's having to do it in the cafeteria when it takes them an hour to build it up and then an hour to tear it back down again. It's sitting there watching with the parents, watching their children, and this one child who came in who had obviously been in an incident and special needs, trying to see the stage and cannot see it and cannot hear it. It may mean nothing to you guys, but I can tell you, to parents, their child's voice, their talents, it's priceless to them, and they can't get that back. Even if we start now, it would still take so long. His kids would probably already be graduated. And that's all I'm here for, is I would like to ask the county commissioners to at least consider trying to expedite the high school as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else speak on behalf or against the capital improvement plans for 2024 to 2028? Going once, going twice. Public hearing is now closed. Thank you. And for the record, I would like to make a statement, Madam Clerk. We do have the Southern Lee High School auditorium and 6 classrooms on our capital improvement plan for next year. And I would ask this board to seriously consider, as we move closer to that time frame, that we look forward to, with the manager's help and assistance, funding and carrying on, putting forth together both the auditoriums at Southern Lee and Lee Senior. Those are my words. Thank you. Okay. Let's see, we rearranged everything here.
Let me ask you a question. Are you referring to the architectural design, or what exactly are you?
Actually, no, Commissioner Reeves, I was just referring to what we have proposed for next year, which is Southern Lee High School. We've got projected $13,306,975 dedicated for the capital improvement plans for the auditorium and 6 classrooms,
Yeah.
as well as the second item is the auditorium renovations, $6,492,000 for Lee Senior.
Will that require plans?
Yes, it will.
Yeah. Can you offer, Madam Manager?
Yes, sir. Both of those have been moved to the fiscal year 24-25 in the recommended CIP.
Yeah.
And both of those we had looked at proposing. I had proposed that we use some lottery funds
Right.
to fund both of those projects. Actually, if you look in the detail of the CIP, we had put $1.5 million of lottery on both projects. So my recommendation would be, it's going to take at least a year, based on what we're running into for design and bid,
Right.
that they consider using lottery funds
Right.
to fund that portion. And then if we did the financing in the fall of '24, I had only looked at the high school, Southern Lee High School project. We could potentially do a financing in the fall of '24 for that project with little to no tax impact at this point, based on our scenarios at this point and stuff.
Is that what you're saying as well?
Exactly, and I've spoken to both the chair as well as the superintendent recommending that.
All right. Thank you.
Can you clarify who has control over those lottery funds? Is it the school system or is it us?
It takes both boards to sign off on it.
Okay.
I'd offer a motion in support of the lottery fund usage.
Motion's been made to support utilizing the lottery funds to prepare the planning for both facilities,
Right.
Southern Lee as well as Lee Senior.
Right.
Any further discussion?
With Southern Lee probably taking preference.
With Southern Lee, of course.
Yeah.
With Southern Lee taking preference. We should be able to do both.
I'm just saying, if there's anything,
Okay.
I would put Southern Lee over.
Southern Lee is priority.
There is a good chance that you could. I have not had Davenport look at it with the high school, the Lee County High School project included also. But odds are you probably could.
So the
And-
way we're talking about it, we have to have cooperation with the school board in order to make this happen, is that correct?
Yes.
The motion's been made to free up the lottery funds on our behalf, and then we'll take it to the school board, and they will,
Okay.
it's my first time, so I don't know. Am I correct? Thank you.
I'm just curious as to whether or not that shouldn't be in the motion, that's all. It recognizes the responsibility of the school board, but I offer it as a friendly amendment, but I'm not totally squared away on the procedure, but it seems like a reasonable thing to do. Would you accept that?
I don't know why it's necessary. We're giving them the go-ahead in this motion. It'll be up to them.
It's just that the money would not be expended if they say no, and basically,
Then it
no.
doesn't get
isn't that
expended.
true?
Yeah,
Why do you, no.
No,
Okay.
for clarification, they gotta
I
have
think
both
you-
boards' approval. The motion's been made to
Right.
approve freeing up lottery funds for the preliminary plans and architectural designs for Southern Lee Priority and Lee Senior. And there was a 1.5 for both school projects.
It's what I had recommended in the CIP. Now,
Correct.
they may come back now that they have estimated costs. They would only be able to, believe, ask for what they estimate the design cost to be.
Are you clear, Commissioner Carver?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Any opposed? Thank you. Did you get that, Madam Clerk? Okay.
Well, you got it recorded, didn't you? You got it.
Motion. We'll need a motion to vote on the budget.
Can I make a motion to suspend our rules so we can vote on
Motion,
the budget?
motion's been made to rescind the policy rules on at the conclusion of the public hearing to vote on the budget.
I don't think it's rescind, I think it's
Rescind is the word?
suspend.
Waive, I'm sorry, waive.
Okay.
All right, motion to waive the policy following the public hearing on the vote for the 2023-24 budget. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Any opposed? Thank you. And then moving on to the capital improvements plan as presented.
Did you vote on the budget?
We just voted on the budget.
You voted to
Oh, we
rescind, you voted to
rescind.
waive.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Do
We
you want me
voted to waive our policy. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the 2023-24 budget?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Reeves to approve the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget. Any discussion?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, sir.
I want to recognize some of the comments that were made tonight, which I think are food for thought on the budget in general. But I'd also like to say that the county manager and the staff have worked hard to propose a budget that reflects the priorities set by the board in January at our retreat. And it brings us to a recommended 65 cents per 100 tax rate. But they've done a good job doing exactly what we've asked them to do. The budget includes an increase in tax revenue to pay for a variety of needs. The budget includes an increase in the tax revenue to pay for a variety of needs. And that's why I'm trying to respond to some of the comments that were made against the increase above the revenue neutral rate. Overdue pay increases for county personnel were based on a pay study. And we all know that based on the inflation, the COLA, it was appropriate for our employees. We addressed increases in law enforcement because, in fact, we want to make sure that that focus on the safety of our county is maintained. And the sheriff made some really good recommendations that I think we approved. General Services is overwhelmed right now because of the growth in the county and the additional spaces they have to take care of. This is encouraging in the sense that we're increasing our economic development and the ability of the people to enjoy this county. But general services is right in the front of trying to make sure that those properties, et cetera, are maintained in a condition that we would like to have. We're involved in a 20 million plus amount of money that we did give to the school system. It didn't meet all the requirements, but, excuse me, a lot of them. And we're facing some debt service that we've agreed to as a board for the library and the sports complex. Excuse me. I support this budget, but I think we've missed an opportunity. And I want to give us an opportunity to reconsider tonight one particular item. The school board asked us to include a supplement bridge. Approving that request recognizes the effort, excellent effort, I think, that the school board is making to improve achievement and growth and what we've asked them to do in the past. Approving that request also is an encouragement to classified and certified school employees who bear the brunt of implementing all these new improvements that we're trying to make to improve the school system. To that end, I move to amend the budget motion to increase the tax rate from 65 cents to 66 cents, and to give sufficient funds to allow the school to grant a $600 supplement bridge to certified and classified employees as recommended to the school board. I think this is something we need to do and to rethink tonight. Thank you.
Motion's been raised to raise the tax rate from 65 cents to 66 cents a hundred. Any further discussion?
I've got a question. Did you or the school board, either one, approach the General Assembly about your concerns for teacher salaries?
I can speak for myself. When we met with Senator Bergen and Representative Sauls, yes, we talked about that. The General Assembly, and I think they're sensitive to it, and they've made recommendations that vary from about 4% for 2 years to up to 10% for 2 years. Half of that would come this year and falls way below even the 7% in inflation. So even if they take action on what they're proposing, it falls short of what we need to recognize the contribution they're making.
Well, by any chance, did you follow up with the school board or perhaps consider Governor Cooper's recommendation for the school?
I did consider Governor Cooper's recommendation, and it is at the high end of that spectrum, but again, it's divided into two parts, and it doesn't address the 7% inflation that we're looking at. I think they're falling well short of what we ought to be doing, but in fact, they're not doing it. And we're faced with the possibility of giving a modest increase, just to say, look, we appreciate what you're doing, we appreciate the school board and their recommendations, which they made in here, and that's why I'm advancing the amendment.
Any other questions? Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? No.
Request a hand vote?
Request a hand vote?
No.
All those opposed?
No.
Those four. Thank you. Motion,
Can I have point of privilege, please?
certainly.
I hear what you're saying, Mr. Carver, but I think 2 years prior, you had the opportunity to do the same thing. And I would just question why, you know, when we were all wanting to do it, why didn't you want to do it then?
Commissioner, the reason I didn't want to do it then is I felt that we weren't making the progress and achievement and growth that we are now. And also, if I remember right, you voted for a 2% increase at that time, and yet now you're voting no. So things change, and I understand that. I think there's good reason to be cautious about giving the increase. I understand that. And although we've already made the vote, I guess it doesn't make much difference. But if you're asking me that question, it's curious that we both, maybe we both changed positions.
Yeah, but I'm not going to raise property taxes to achieve that. That's the difference. I
Okay.
think I'm right about that. I think you want to raise property taxes by 1 penny, and I don't want to do that. I think that's the big difference.
Okay.
All right, we still have a motion open for approving the 2023, 2024 budget. All
We've
those,
done the budget, haven't we?
no,
We-
we
we
have
never
the,
voted.
They got an amendment.
correct.
Sorry.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Moving on to public comments. We have Kenneth Gilstrap. Sir, please come forward, state your name as well as your address.
My name's Kenneth Gilstrap. Address is 1450 Bailey Thomas Road here in Sanford. Last time I was here, we spoke about the flat tax. We were opposed to the implementation of it at the time. Let me go back for those that don't know. I'm also the board president for Tramway Fire Department. I'm here tonight to say thank you. We feel that you listened to our concerns and heard what we were asking. The proposed budget that you just approved went back to the way the tax rate was before and did not implement the flat tax. We appreciate that you listened and that you're going to allow all parties concerned to take part in this process to implement that tax plan, that flat tax rate properly. So that's all I'm here is thank you for your efforts, thank you for listening, and we look forward to working with you and all parties involved in implementing this in the proper way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next is Gregory Spivey.
My name is Gregory Spivey, 517 South Franklin Drive, Sanford, North Carolina, 27330. I'm an assistant fire chief and member of the board of directors, Tramway Fire Department. Thank you to those who listened, who heard the objections of the county firefighters regarding the implementation of the flat tax rate for the fire districts. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Next item, or excuse me, next individual is Chris Cox.
Christopher Cox, 795 Thomas Kelly Road. Good evening to commissioners and all that's in attendance. I stand before you tonight to express a certain percentage of thanks for the decision to rescind the proposed flat tax for the 23-24 fiscal year. This is the biggest request as a whole that firefighters and fire departments have wanted to make sure this is a well-constructed, well-planned, and well-presented option for this entire county protected by the volunteer fire departments. However, the other remaining percentage revolves around the disappointment in those that orchestrated the proposed implementation of the flat fire tax. Since my first speech at the county commissioners meeting on May the 15th this year, there have been many valid questions which most could not be directly answered without being put in the hands and the responsibility of the fire advisory board. So many questions, in fact, that the Fire Advisory Board unanimously voted at their last meeting to have a consulting group assist in the needs and goals for that proposed flat tax. This is a great concern, but a breath of relief that this is going to be done the right way in a planned and properly constructed way so that all entities can be aware of what is going on, and it should be fair for the departments and the citizens they serve. Prior to this being rescinded, there was a number of 10 cents per $100 of property valuation that would blanket the volunteer fire department districts and protected areas in this county. Now that the fire district monies will continue as normal, the numbers show some districts with their numbers as low as 7.2 cents per 100 valuation. That is amazing to me. This is one example of concern for the process before it ever starts. We stand as a group of firefighters who dedicate our time voluntarily to protect life and property at a moment's notice. Now we dedicate our time to also hold checks and balances on their money for their fire protection in their respective districts. Thank you for your time, and I wish you a good evening.
Thank you, sir. Next, Chad Deal. This is the last one.
Chad Deal, 2448 Hickory House Road. Again, a certain degree, thank you for listening to stop flat tax for this year. But again, we have to work together, just like the school board. We have to work together and be transparent with what we're doing. We just can't make a decision just like that and expect it to go smoothly. It's not gonna happen. So as long as we work together, I think we can make this happen. As long as we follow all the policies, the rules, general statutes and everything else. So, you know, Dr. Crumden with the whole Northview annexation or proposal with the city contract, Dr. Crumden made sure everybody knew that we need to have a lawyer. So, I mean, we do have a lawyer. So if we need to, you know, talk to the lawyer, just like y'all got a lawyer, it is what it is. So, again, you pay taxes in Tramway. Your taxes went from a 9.6 to a 7.7 right now. Is it really gonna help? I don't know. But we've got a year to figure this out. So, thank you for listening, and y'all have a good night.
Thank you, sir. We can vote on the CIP first.
Yeah.
Can you make a motion to approve it?
Oh, yes, a motion to approve the CIP for the fiscal year 2024, 2028 through 2028?
Need to do a waiving again?
Yeah, we'll need to waive.
Make a motion to waive our policy, please.
Oh, yes.
All right, motion's been made to
Waive the
waive,
policy.
waive our policy regarding public hearings and voting on the capital improvement plan for 2024, 2028. Any questions? Any discussion? Waiving the plan, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Waiving the policy, excuse me. All right, now, do I have a vote to approve the CIP as presented?
So moved.
Motion been made by Commissioner Reeves to approve the capital improvements plan for fiscal year 2024, 2028. Any further discussion?
I got one item that I'd like to question, at least an explanation on this $6 million. Could you explain that for me?
Yes, sir. The $6 million that's included in the CIP for the public safety radio system upgrade, I did leave that in fiscal year 23, 24. However, we will not move on that until we get some more answers to some of the questions that have been raised about the potential radio system and the interoperability with the city. And of course, any project will have to come back to the board before it's actually funded and approved. So this is just a planning tool.
All right.
So we are not locked into it at this point if
Thank
you
you.
approve this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good question. Any other questions? Motion been made to approve the CIP for 2024, 2028. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And would you make a motion? Make a motion to excuse?
She's good.
No,
We have to make a motion.
Oh,
yeah.
make a motion to excuse Commissioner Warwick.
Motion's been made to excuse Commissioner Vorbeck as she has duties as a coach for the U10 softball league, and they are in their championships tonight.
Yes, sir.
Good luck to you, coach.
Thank you.
That said, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I just want to add
Any
something. I want
opposed?
to amend that. You got to win. If you don't win, you're going to be absent.
I'm more nervous for them than I think they are.
Thank you, Commissioner Vorbeck. Good luck. Do well. Drive safely, wear your seatbelt, no speeding.
Yes, sir.
Is it just down the road?
Yes, sir.
Oh, outstanding.
Go get him, coach.
Okay. Next item, if I'm correct, is the appoint the Consolidated Human Services Board appointees. We just need to sign the
Yes,
ballot.
we're bringing a ballot, because the one at your seat is the draft ballot for next week. So,
Correct.
Ms. Gamble is gonna pass out the ballot. This was part of the nominating committee, and who sat on that was members of the DSS board, the Board of Health, and our Mental Health Board. We are asking, I sent out the applications, I believe 2 weeks ago, so you had time to review. We are asking that you now vote on the ballot. Please note that the last two blocks for the general public, we have 3 people who have applied for that. You can pick up to 10. And then, on the very last block, for consumers of human services, there's 4 spots, so you can vote for all 4 of them. They are staggered terms, and if you need pens, we can pass those out. And also, please sign the ballots, and when we have had a chance to review them, we'll note to the board.
Oh, that's a red one. That's okay. No, we should.
And their first meeting will be July 12th, the day that it officially consolidates. And I can take your ballot when you're ready.
Did you have a question?
I just want to make sure that I'm following it, right? The psychologist, pharmacist, psychiatrist,
Those have to remain vacant because we
Right.
don't have anyone yet
to be
approved.
filled.
Yes, sir. And if we get any between now and, it'll be a rolling application like we do for our other board members.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
What's there to vote?
Yeah, take this one too. Oh, all right. You can do it.
You can do all of it.
Cause it's the right number, baby.
We don't have it in the county.
Okay.
Take this one. Take all 3.
So I can briefly report back to the board now. So for thank you, dentist position is Dr. Tripp Hadrick, engineer position, Jeremy Thomas, the veterinarian position, Dr. Diane Schowler, social worker position, Margaret Johnson, registered nurse, Sophia Blunt, physician position, Dr. William Hall, general public, Alice Hooker, William Pickard, and Paul Utley, and then the 4 consumers of human services, Chris Godwin, Mary Holly Oates, Ophelia Livingston, and Elizabeth Gomez. So thank you for your help.
Okay, quick question. Is there like the first day, is there like a chair and all that other stuff?
Yes,
to
sir.
get
So
figured out?
July 12th, they'll adopt bylaws, vote for chair, vice chair, and then like we do at our organizational meetings, set the time and place for the meetings for the upcoming year. And we anticipate meeting around 7 because the professionals who are on the board, that gives them time to make the meetings.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are we actively recruiting those positions in the profession that we do not have on the board?
Yes, sir. The nominating committee is still recruiting those. I know Mary Holly Oates and Dr. Hall have been working hard trying to continue to fill those positions. The problem is that they require you to live in Lee County, so there's a psychologist, and the psychiatrist positions are a little bit difficult.
We have a lot of new homes coming in.
Thank you.
Okay. I think it's time for COVID Steel Bridge. Okay. Next item on the agenda is under new business, the Cove at Steel Bridge preliminary subdivision plat, and I believe Thomas is here.
Hello, good evening. Switching gears here. So, this presentation begins on page 380 of your packet. And this is in reference to Cove at Steel Bridge subdivision. So, Moore HL Properties Incorporated is seeking approval of a preliminary plat to create a 29-lot major residential subdivision for single-family homes. The development, known as the Cove at Steel Bridge, features a centralized internal mail kiosk location for postal service delivery and pickup, and may also serve as a school bus stop. Subject property is currently zoned RR and is typically intended for large lot, single-family homes, and requires, among other things, a minimum lot size
of 30,000 square feet. The site of the development is not located within a watershed, nor is it impacted by a flood hazard area. The proposed subdivision is intended to be served by public water and private on-site septic systems. Soil report prepared by Mr. Jerry Yarborough with Cape Fear Soil Consultants is included as an attachment in your packet for review, and it does detail the extent of suitable soils for those septic systems. And in your packet, Mr. Yarborough has a yellow outlined area with the suitable soils. I just took the liberty of highlighting with green coloring on the actual plat. I don't know if it's in your packet though, but it is on the presentation behind you if you want to see the full extent of suitable soils. The Lee County Planning Board met on May 15th and reviewed the preliminary plat before you. They voted unanimously to recommend in favor of approval of the preliminary plat. And some topics of discussion from that planning board meeting centered around NCDOT's acceptance of the proposed internal roads, the alignment of the new road with Pocket Church Road, and whether this development would have an HOA, which it will not. The development has access to Steel Bridge Road currently, which is, of course, a state-maintained road with 60 feet of right-of-way. The proposed subdivision also includes over 1,500 linear feet of new roads intended to be maintained by NCDOT. And just one last note, if you look at the notes printed on sheet C2 of the plat, there's just a little discrepancy. One note says that lots 1 through 3 will have a shared driveway, and another note says that lots 2 and 3 will have a shared driveway. They're the ones that front Steel Bridge Road. Those are obviously conflicting. 3 lots can't share a driveway. Just so you know that error will be removed for the final plat. Lots 2 and 3 are the ones that share a driveway, and it's simply just a Y-shaped driveway that will front onto Steel Bridge Road, and that's to limit, NCDOT to limit the number of cars coming into and out of Steel Bridge Road. So the preliminary plat, just some final notes. The preliminary plat will be valid for 2 years if approved by the commissioners. DEQ approval will be required if the developer disturbs an acre or greater, which they will. NCDOT approval will be required for all driveway connections to NCDOT maintained public roads. Public water must be installed and accepted for maintenance prior to the recording of the final plat, and public streets must be installed prior to the final plat being recorded as well, and the developer is responsible for dedicating those public streets to NCDOT. And I'll stop there for any questions you might have.
Questions from Mr. Mears? Commissioner Sharp.
Just for the public and the commissioners, I'm not sure if they know, but this is the same group that came sometime last year.
Middle of
and
last year? Yes, sir.
Yeah, and wanted to do a rezoning for.
That's correct, yes, sir. They wanted to, it's currently RR, restricted residential, minimum lot size of 30,000 square feet. This group came before you sometime in the middle of last year, and they had requested a rezoning to R20, which the 20 signifies a minimum lot size of 20,000 square feet. That, I believe, was rejected, and they've just redesigned the development to meet the existing zoning standards of RR, which is 30,000 square foot minimum lots.
Thank you. I just want everybody to be aware of the same group.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Reeves.
You mentioned the Y-type driveways. How many did you say you're gonna have?
Well, 2 lots will share one driveway, and I do have some printouts if you want, but it is simply just, you know, a Y, so you'll have driveways on 2 lots that kind of straddle the property line, and then it just forms one driveway onto Steel Bridge Road.
Have you been on Cortland Drive?
Right by Chaffin, I know what you're talking about, yes, sir.
I do too. Have you seen how that works on holidays when families have the?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little tight, a little congested.
Very tight. And secondly, will there be a turn lane included?
No, sir. NCDOT is not requiring the developer to do any, what they refer to as off-site improvements.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Connect.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lovick.
No questions.
Commissioner Carver.
No question.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve this?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Motion's been made to approve the Cove at Steel Bridge preliminary subdivision plat. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Next item on the agenda is the county branding presentation. I guess Mr. Ben is going.
All right. Good evening, Commissioners. I'm excited to bring to you tonight a project that I've been working on for a little bit. This is, just to be clear, this is not a rebranding. This is not new necessarily. It is some new things, but it's not a rebranding. It's an extension of what you all started in 2020, I do believe. So a little background and some explanation for why we wanted to do this. Across the county, we do not see consistency. We see different fonts, we see different colors. Even the seals themselves are widely different because they've been digitized by different people. And I really do not like that. I like our branding to be respected, and I want it to be consistent across the county. We need a little bit more modern branding that can accompany our seal for our modern projects that we are taking on. And lastly, for apparel, we need some marks that are more easily put onto apparel. For example, the county seal, when it is embroidered, loses a lot of detail. And again, I don't like for that to happen. I want it to be displayed in its full glory, you could say. So we'll start with the seal. This is what I'm calling the quote-unquote old seal. And this is the quote-unquote new seal. I have went in and brightened it up. I've made the courthouse bigger. I have made it more detailed. I've added more depth. I've made the American flag actually American flag colors, because you can see in the other one that it's gray. But this was just the initial start. It can be used on lots of projects and lots of documents to be able to, it just looks a lot better than the old one. As part of this, we wanted to define a new primary color palette so we can officially have the same colors across the county. And I wanted to give these all some fun names. So we'll start off with Deep River Blue, then we have Brick Maroon, and we have one I'm calling Golden Opportunity, because we are the land of golden opportunity here. And I actually did make the leaf and everything actually gold color versus the mustard yellow that was in the old seal.
What is that, a tobacco leaf?
I do believe it's the golden leaf for the tobacco leaf, yes, sir.
All right.
And then we wanted to have some fun secondary colors that can be used. And I'm calling them Partnerships Purple, On the Green, Southern Sunsets, and Tramway Teal. These are all complementary colors that come from the defined primary colors. And all of these colors can be presented in differing brightness, to give you some range. But yeah, for typeface, we're going to be going with Proxima Nova. It's a good modern font that goes with a lot of things, and everybody has it. So that's one of the biggest reasons, is that it's very accessible, and if you can't use it, we're going to use Arial. And to go along with it, changed. We needed to have some marks to go along with it. So here's the wide word mark that I'm proposing today to go along with the seal that can be presented on documents and such as news releases and agendas.
You had me a little concerned when I saw that K down there myself.
Yeah, I don't know why that went there, but
I don't either, but it scared me.
this is just a word mark.
Rogue.
Yeah, and so this is our word mark, because it's obviously words. It can be presented in white with blue. I personally really like this. I think it's a really good look. And to go along with this, we wanted to have a letter mark, which a letter mark is a small, think like IBM. And we wanted something that's readable, transformable, identifiable, scalable, and very embroiderable, however you say that word. and this is what we have developed. It has been previously made a priority that we want to be Lee County government, and existing on lots of projects, we either write LCG, Lee County government, and this is just a combination and is put together in a fun mark. So LCG, Lee County Government, North Carolina. This can be on its own or with the seal. And as you can see here, it can be displayed both ways. Preferably like with a shirt, you might be able to just get the LCG on there. If you want to get it embroidered, if it's going to be screen printed, you can add the seal because it'll be able to be replicated properly. It happened again. But as you can see, this letter mark will be the more creatively done letter mark. It can be done on almost any of our colors, and it looks really good. And I think that it'll be very recognizable as it begins to be put out into the community. Each of our departments will have their own letter marks. This is what I'm calling the standard mark. It's pretty easy to tell. You just took off the North Carolina and replaced it with the department. We're still playing around a little bit with what the sizing could look like on the bottom, but we're going to let those department heads have some input on what exactly they're wanting. And then we're going to have a little bit fun one. We've been approached by departments, specifically Parks and Recreation was one of them, that they wanted to have a new logo. And we wanted to really take this time to approach it as a across-the-board branding discussion and set some guidelines. And as you can see here, we still want to have the LCG be part of our new branding, but it can be discussed color schemes, and they can have a chance to design their own emblem. This is, of course, at the county manager's discretion about which department gets to participate in this process. And this is not a final logo by any means. This is just a sample that we can use as a proof of concept. And I know for a fact Joseph does like it.
He does?
He does like it, yes.
Okay.
Here's some examples of what this can look like on shirts. General Services has really been wanting to purchase new hats. So at the bottom there is an example of what that could look like. The safety shirts, variety of things. Here's an example of what my business card could look like. And then we have a sample news release that we could do. We just want to beef up our brand a little bit. So moving forward, first off, if you like what I've presented tonight, you have the opportunity to adopt the brand standards that I have at your seat tonight. And then moving forward, our current slogan is, I don't know exactly if it was officially done away with, but we have the Committed Today for a Better Tomorrow. You still see it all over the place. You have the opportunity we can keep that. We can totally not have one, or we can engage in some future discussion if we want to possibly have a new slogan as we move forward into our growing Lee County. And then lastly, we're going to create new marketing materials. And I would like to say that this is not going to have a budget impact because we do not want to go back and replace things that have already been put up. If there's a sign that's already up, if there is a sticker on a car, we're going to keep it the way it is for now, but as we move forward, we want to hone our brand. We don't want to waste money going back and buying expensive things. So I can answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ben. Commissioners, questions for Ben? Commissioner Carver?
No, thank you.
Commissioner Lovick?
No question. Thank you.
Commissioner Connect? Commissioner Reeves? Commissioner Sharp?
None, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Tramway Teal. Is the fire department from Tramway? What do you think? Tramway Teal?
We would like for the board to adopt the brand standards if they are interested in doing that tonight, so we can move ahead with this.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the recommended changes to the existing Lee County branding guidelines?
So moved.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Reeves to approve the recommended changes for the existing Lee County branding guidelines. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is manager's report.
I would just like to take the opportunity to say thank you to the Board of Commissioners for what you did tonight on the budget. On behalf of all the employees of Lee County, we appreciate what you've done for them and for us. And I think they will be very appreciative as we move into the new fiscal year. In addition to the pay plan and the COLA, we're also hope to implement the tuition reimbursement program, among some other ideas that we have for retention. We also thank you for approving the brand standards. We're very excited about this new image and moving forward with the next step of our branding that we started several years ago. That's it.
And next item on the agenda is commissioners' comments. We'll start with Commissioner.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, every year we undertake the job of putting together a budget, and we do have priorities, and we try to hit on all those and do the best we can with our staff's recommendations. And I want to thank all staff, the commissioners, and I see the community college president over here. I hope we've met your needs, the firemen. Thank you all for coming out and being a part of our process. And thank you, everybody.
Commissioner Reeves.
I just sincerely want to thank this board. You know, Lee County employees have been lagging behind and taking the brunt of a lot of missed opportunities and sacrifices made for others. And I am so very, very happy and proud to see some steps forward for the staff that makes each of us commissioners look like we know what we're doing. So thank all of you staff members and board. One other thing, as I was walking out this afternoon, I see where they're going to open a mental health behavioral care center over in Fuquay. I think it will be open this week. And I couldn't have been happier. That's needed primarily for kids, but anybody can take advantage of it. But I hope somebody on the staff will look into it. Thank you.
Commissioner Connect.
I'm good. Good comments. Excellent. Thank you.
Commissioner Lovick.
Yes, thank you. I like Commissioner Carver and, you know, in a lot of ways like to do things for our teachers and stuff, but I also see a point to where in our budgeting process where we have to make the ultimate decision for most of the citizens of Lee County, and it's a tough decision, and I think we had to make a tough one tonight on our budget, but I think we did it right, and I think the state puts us in a tough place sometimes for us having to supplement for our teachers, and that's tough to do. And if we look at it in so many situations, a lot of times we may have to supplement for other things, so if we don't watch ourselves, we're gonna get our county in some situations I think we don't need to get into. But I do support our teachers. My vote tonight was not against our teachers in any way. I hope they see that. But again, thanks for each one that put themselves out there for our applications for our county. If there's other folks that would like to do things for our county, there's a lot of positions open to get on different boards. That's a good way, if you like helping our county, step up and do that. So I'd encourage each one to serve in that capacity. And I'd also like to give kudos on the Department of Social Services Board, which I was a member of. Each one of those members stepped up and put in an application and were voted in to serve on that board. So got some, I'm sure, Commissioner Connect, your board members stepping up also. So like I say, thank you to each one that steps up and serves our county. It's very much needed. Thank you.
Commissioner Carver.
I just want to comment on our visit with the Senator Bergen and Representative Sauls. I thought they were very receptive to us. They gave us a good amount of time. They listened to what we had to say, and then they set up some things that, especially Senator Bergen, that has to do with the mental health. And I know that's very key to his, where he puts his priorities, and I think he's working hard behind the scenes to try to make it possible for us to have an improved mental health response throughout the state. But overall, it was a good experience, and I'm glad we preserved the opportunity to go up there and talk to him. Kudos to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners who made that possible. So it was a good visit.
And I would like to thank the manager, the staff, the department heads, the employees, as far as putting together the budget and our CIP, as well as this County Board of Commissioners. I want to say thank you very much for your work and your intuition and your direction, and I can't say enough on that. As far as mental health is concerned, I did send you all a message regarding an overview of the discussion that the Sand Hill Center held a special called meeting last week, and we met with DHHS Secretary Cody Kinsley, and got some very interesting input from his viewpoint regarding how we're transitioning to the tailored plan. And before the meeting, I got a call from Chairman in Hope County. We're talking about hopefully compiling Moore County, Lee County, Harnett, and Hope County to try to facilitate a behavioral health care facility here in Lee County to service those areas, because we're all in the same boat across the state. There's not enough facilities, there's not enough treatment. Although Wake County and then the state has taken the initiative to put in some massive beds in Wake County for behavioral health as well. So we're going to continue working that. This week we do have the opioid conference in Durham. I will be able to make one day, and then I got a conflict for the other day, so we're still focusing on it. We do have the opportunity to utilize to the best of our abilities and consolidate the monies that we are holding as regard as opioid funds, so we're continuing there. And on the other aspect of the teacher pay, I know that when we had dinner with Senator Bergen the other night, I grabbed his ear and I said, why did the Senate have such a low ball on the teachers' pay increase? He goes, we always do that. We always negotiate higher. So needless to say, it was like, well, it's kind of embarrassing, you know, but whatever. So the state budget, both houses are going to promote the teachers and give them a comparable pay increase. But to say that, I did have discussions with the superintendent as well as the chairman of the Board of Education, and I got to admit, they kept throwing that in front of us that we're raising the pay for the employees of Lee County. And I said, well, yeah, they hadn't had it in a while, so guess what? The state's working on yours, and we're working on our county employees. So they tried to compare apples to apples, and it just didn't work. County government is funded by the county. Teachers are funded primarily by the state, and we give them a 10% supplement. So enough said on the pay discussion. I do want to say thank you to the fire departments. I appreciate your service, very much dedicated to supporting you, and we will work through this process throughout the summer with the Fire Advisory Board as well as the consultant to do a study as far as the county's concerned. We have a busy year ahead of us. I do want to say thank you, and I appreciate it very much. I have nothing further.
Move to adjourn.
Motion's been made to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.